Well, a lot of people looking to buy homes, and mortgage rates are trending downward since the start of spring. Realtor Corey Burr is back with us to explain what it means for buyers and sellers. Good to see you, Corey. Thanks for coming in.
Steve.
So, obviously, as the rates come down, then you think on the surface, well, this has to be good news, right? Is it, or is it like a good news, but be aware of something else?
Well, we were really nervous about coming into 2023 because the fall of 2022, the market basically froze up because of the increase in the interest rates. But they've moderated down to about 6%. And this actually is a very good time because we're at the peak of the spring market for the next 4 weeks.
So what is it? Is it universally affect people if you're looking to, and let's talk about the buyers right now, if you're looking to buy, or is it in certain regions, in certain pockets, certain types of houses? What's the breakdown?
Right now, the market is very hot in all price ranges. The moderating interest rates, though, are most important to the lower price properties because every 1/8 of a percent factors in wildly as to how much a buyer can afford.
Yeah, and we've seen that go up by well more than and multiples of 1/8 of a percent, right?
Yes.
So that's been exponentially. Do you see the rates themselves coming down more in the next year or stabilizing? What's the forecast?
So in the last 30 days, it looks like what the Fed is trying to pull off is working. The unemployment rate from Friday was quite moderate, and the last CPI number was quite moderate also. So if we can pray that that can continue, the rates are going to continue to moderate.
All right, for the sellers, what's moving right now? Is it the luxury market that is, do we still have a high demand for, or is it the opposite? Are we selling more moderately priced homes?
Unbelievably, every price range, excuse me, is selling very well right now. The expensive stuff and the less expensive stuff. Now, we're at the height of the spring market, as I said. The rubber's going to meet the road coming in September when the market typically cools down into the fall and into the holidays. But for right now, it's a very strong market.
Is that universal across the country? Spring kind of ramps up for real estate season, or is it just in places here in the Northeast where we do have seasons and, you know, once we start looking towards summer, we start looking to perhaps a change in our living environment?
In my 36 years, these months from basically April through June are the most important months for selling nationwide.
So if you are planning on selling, maybe you didn't get the house ready to go now in April, May, June. Do you recommend then you wait until next spring if you can, or is it just put it on the market when you can?
I would put it on the market when you can. Consult with your realtor to make sure that you get it in the best condition possible, price it reasonably, and be reasonable in your list price and in your negotiations with your buyer.
All right, and how about just in this area, because obviously the DMV, we spread it way out into the suburbs. We're covering 3-4 states. Is there any one region that's more hot than another right now as far as the real estate market?
So our region has done really well coming out of the pandemic. People understand that they like being outdoors. We're much less urban than a lot of other city centers. And I think there are a lot of people who are foregoing going to New York or Los Angeles or Chicago, and they just love our region. So really, all of our areas are doing very well right now.
One of the things that we did see, and we'll kind of end it on this because I know we'll talk with you again soon. You know, obviously during the pandemic, you had a lot of people that were like, I'm gonna go buy some land a little further from DC. I'm gonna work from home. I don't have to make that commute anymore. That drove up some of the prices in some of the suburbs. What happens now? Are people going to move back into closer to the city or just not leave? Is it more expensive in the suburbs now? Has there been, I guess, any repercussion from coming out of the pandemic?
So this return to the office is very controversial. A lot of bosses want people back, but a lot of employees don't want to go back. So that's going to speak well to the further out neighborhoods if they can continue to work from home.
So you're not going to necessarily find those bargains anymore by moving a little bit farther outside of the city.
Unless you go a little bit further.
Okay, the little further keeps pushing out farther and farther.
Yes.
Appreciate you joining us, Corey. It's always good to talk to you. Thanks very much
pleasure.
for your advice this morning. And of course, you can find out much more information online for our spring real estate forecast.